Hello, it's Bernie Wall here, and I'm here to give you another tip to help you with your IELTS preparation and practice. If you haven't seen any of my videos before, then I am an IELTS teacher and English language trainer, and I specialise in working with students who need high bands at IELTS, so band 7 and 8 typically. And so most of these tips are aimed at those students to help them get to those high bands. But they can be used at any level of IELTS, and I hope that they will help you too. So today I'm going to look again at multiple choice questions. I get lots and lots of requests for help with multiple choice. So I decided to go through it one more time. So I'm going to look at two examples, one from the listening and one from the reading. And remember that all of these tips and strategies, they won't really help you a lot unless you practice them. So once you've understood and you can see what to do, then the thing is to go away and practice, practice, practice until it becomes more second nature to you. So as ever, I have a presentation to share with you, and we'll go through these examples. So practice makes perfect, as I said before. You do have to practice them so that they become faster, and so that when you get into the exam, you can do them quite easily. So let's start with the listening. So the thing about the listening is to keep it as simple as possible so that you don't get confused, because there's a lot to do. So focus on the question itself and find one keyword or one short phrase that you can use to listen for and then get the right information. So in the example that I'm going to share with you, which is from Cambridge 13, I can't remember which test, it's 1 or 2. We have a question, a multiple choice question, and the actual stem of the question is this: why is Jack interested in investigating seed germination? I've highlighted 2 words here, or 3 words in fact. We need to find out about Jack, and we also need to find out about his connection with seed germination. So if you have time before the listening starts, you could skim the choices, but don't worry too much about the choices, the 3 or 4 choices you have, because you're going to have to look at those as you listen. So what we're listening for is something to do with Jack and seed germination. Okay, so listen for these key phrases or key phrase. So we discover when we listen that Jack is asked for the reason by a fellow student, Emma. So he's having a conversation with Emma, and she actually asked him this question: what is his reason for studying this, seed germination? And these are the choices. So once we hear this question from Emma, we have to listen carefully and focus. So will he do a module in a related topic later on? Does he want to have a career in plant science, or is he thinking of choosing this topic for his dissertation? So as we listen, we look at these choices. Now, we can assess them. So we find out that he's thinking of doing a module in his 3rd year on this topic. And that means he would not have to do a dissertation. So if you go back to the choices here, then he will not do a dissertation if he does this topic now. So that one we can dismiss. Okay, so C is wrong. Then Emma mentions that he's interested in the topic as a career. But this is not Jack's reason, this is Emma's question. So B is wrong, because we don't know about Jack's opinion or Jack's interest. So that leaves us with A, which is the fact that, I'll just go back quickly, He may do the related topic later on, and he mentioned he might do it in his final year. So that's the way to do the listening multiple choice. You find a key, you listen carefully, you look at the choices as you listen, and you eliminate the ones that are incorrect. And then you practice this a lot so that it becomes faster, and you can do it in the short time that you've got to listen. Okay, let's have a look at an example now from the reading. So again, we need to focus on the question rather than the choices and find some keywords that we can use. Then use the keywords to find the place in the text, and then match the choices and the information we find to discover the correct answer. Now, multiple choice, when it comes in section 3, passage 3, can be quite tricky. So it may need a little bit more of a closer reading. Yeah. You may have synonyms, or you may have to paraphrase. You may have to look back a sentence or forward a sentence, and sometimes you might have to just look at the whole paragraph. So don't expect it to be as straightforward in passage 3, and sometimes passage 2 as well. Okay, so here's an example. So this is again from Cambridge 13. I know it's in the academic test, and it's reading 3. So what point is made about Tesco's Greener Living programme? Now, Tesco is a brand name, so should be easy to find, and Greener Living is the name of a particular programme, so again, that should be easy to find. So using those two, we can find the place. And we need to find out what specific point is made by the writer in the text about these two things. Okay, so when we find the place, we discover the following. The programme was introduced to address customers' concerns about the environment. The programme showed that the company shared these concerns of the customers. And the programme involved the customers in it through recycling and reusing. So here are the choices. We've got 4 choices. So let's match those choices against the information we found. So we know from the 3 pieces of information that Tesco responded to its customers, not the other way around. So therefore, C is incorrect because the customers already had that awareness. B might be true, but the passage is about existing customers, not about future or customers coming on after the programme was launched. So it's not about attracting customers, it's about existing customers, so that cannot be right. There is an existing point system already, so we're looking at D now as a choice. So that might be a possibility. However, it says such an initiative, which suggests that it's the same. And in fact, the existing point system was nothing to do with the environment or environmental issues. So it was not the same. So it's unlikely that it's D. And that means that A is going to be the correct answer. And we also found this phrase, Tesco has not abandoned its traditional retail offerings, but augmented them, so increased them. And it tells us here they didn't modify the core business. So that fits quite well with this sentence. So A is going to be the choice for this particular question. So the same thing again, look carefully at the stem, choose the keywords, find the place, and then match very carefully, almost word for word, with the choices. You should end up with 2 choices which are similar, and here our 2 choices would be A and D. So if you've done this test and you are thinking about D, then you are very close. But between the two you should have two, and between those two, one will be better than the other. And we can see here why. Because this one fits perfectly, but this one has a doubt in D. So we're going to choose A. And again, you have to practice for this to become second nature. So keep practicing it, and then you'll find that gradually your multiple choice questions will improve. Okay, so I hope that's helpful. If you're not sure, go over the video again. If you have the Cambridge 13 book, you could check it against the book, and that might make a little bit more sense. As ever, I've written an article attached to this video which has a little bit more detail in it, and that can be found on my website, IELTSlearningtips.com. So I hope you go over there and have a look at the article and sign up if you haven't already, because there are some free resources there, and there are other things and other pieces of information, including how, if you want, you can get to work with me to prepare for your IELTS. So thank you, and I'll see you on the next video.